All right, a parasitic fly whose feed on living tissue is back in the U.S. with dozens of animal cases now confirmed. Federal officials say the overall risk remains very low, but the threats from fleas, ticks, and tapeworms are also changing. The CDC says 37 New World screwworm cases have been reported in Texas and New Mexico, while calling the national risk low. Now, that said, they also point to about 31 million Americans being bitten each year. Tick bite ER visits hit a 10-year high in some areas, and researchers from the University of Washington found a dangerous tapeworm in 37 of 100 coyotes tested, a regional finding, not a national pet rate. Dr. Casey Locklear with Elanco Animal Health joining us now to look at, to talk about what to look out for and how to protect your pet. You're joining us this morning from Indianapolis. Dr. Locklear, when you look at fleas, ticks, tapeworms, and now screwworm, what has changed about the parasite threat facing pets?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have a multitude of parasite threats, as you mentioned, coming across the nation for pets. And in the Southeast, pets face a particularly high burden of heartworm disease, fleas, ticks. And as you mentioned, New World screwworm is back on the picture. It was eradicated from the United States in the 1960s. It is back in Texas and New Mexico, but we need to stay vigilant for it, especially across the Southeast, especially across Georgia, as we know that parasite could continue to move.
And so New World screwworm getting national attention again, you said, after being eradicated for years. What does the average pet owner truly need to understand about this? Maybe they've never even heard of it.
Yeah, New World screwworm is spread by a fly, and again, it's now in Texas and New Mexico, but the increase of movement of pets and people could help this parasite continue to move across the United States. So the key here is to be vigilant, not overly panicked, but vigilant, because we do know that there are treatment options available for New World screwworm, such as Credelio Quattro CA1, the first and only conditionally approved treatment for New World screwworm in pets. Here's the thing I want to highlight to pet owners. If you suspect your pet has New World screwworm, contact your veterinarian immediately. What that could look like is an unexpected wound, a wound that's enlarging, perhaps it has some discharge, and as gross as this may seem, you actually might see some glistening movement or some maggots. That's that larval stage of New World screwworm that makes the parasite so dangerous and gives it its namesake. If you suspect that, contact your veterinarian immediately.
And tell us, how often do you think people should be checking their pets, especially after going for a walk, travel, or just any time outdoors?
Yeah, fleas and ticks are a year-round parasite threat there in Georgia. Every time you go outdoors with your dog, be doing a daily tick check. The Lone Star tick is a particularly aggressive tick. It can spread a multitude of diseases. So every day after you take your dog out for its walk, take a few moments to do your daily tick check. Rifle through that dog's fur, paying attention to the base of the ears, between the paws, around the neck. And remember that when you're looking for ticks, immature ticks can be as small as the head of a pin. So you could be looking for a very small black dot, but they are active year-round, both fleas and ticks in Georgia.
And speaking of those being active year-round, what should owners ask their veterinarian to make sure their pet has the right year-round protection?
Absolutely. Talk to your veterinarian today about year-round broad-spectrum parasite coverage. I particularly like to recommend Credelio Quattro, as it prevents heartworm disease, a significant endemic threat in Georgia. It also treats and controls those fleas and ticks we were talking about, and it is labeled for the control of intestinal parasites, including 3 types of tapeworms. And many folks don't know this, but it's also labeled for the prevention of Lyme disease. So especially if you're traveling to the Northeast with your dog, talk to your veterinarian today to see if Credelio Quattro is right for your dog, especially if they're over 8 weeks of age or greater than 3.3 pounds.
All right, great tips, Dr. Locklear. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.